welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited that you are here, and first and foremost, if you are watching this in real time, I would love to wish you a very Merry Christmas. If you're watching this at a later date, I hope that your Christmas was magical if it is something that you celebrate, and if it's not something that you celebrate, I hope that you had a fantastic December 25th nonetheless. I just want to start this video out, and I will put a timestamp here as to where the actual video in and of itself begins. But I want to take a moment just to show my gratitude to each and every one of you who may have watched my videos for years. Maybe this is your first one, maybe you're recent to my channel, whatever it is, any support. I just wanted to say the most massive of thank yous. I've said in previous videos, this has been probably one of the most difficult years of, I wouldn't say my entire life because I've had a very difficult life, but in the recent years, this has been one of the hardest, and I wasn't sure I would come out the other side, and I just feel so eternally grateful for each and every one of you. So thank you so very much. My gift to those of you who enjoy my content is I'm going to be uploading every day for the remainder of the year, and I've set myself up to properly do so. So for those of you who are like, you say that and then sometimes you don't, we're good. But yeah, I just wanted to say I'm eternally grateful, and if nobody has told you today, you are irreplaceable, and I am so grateful for you and I love you. So thank you for that. Today's video is incredibly eerie and creepy. While not paranormal, I would say it kind of falls on more of like the true crime side. It is definitely one that gave me the heebie-jeebies. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys think of this. Look at me like, Merry Christmas, here's a creepy video. But without further ado, let's get into this particular case. So with that being said, I want to kind of like backtrack for a second, because I've covered a case in the past where an individual was picked up by, well, she was hitchhiking and somebody had picked her up, and the two of them had like rode along and all was well, and he was not really coming forward with anything to do with his life. Like, he was just driving in the proper direction, I believe, but driving along his way, and she was incredibly forthcoming with all of the things that were going on in her life and just showing so much kindness towards him. And at one point, the two of them had stopped off to get something to eat, and she had ended up paying for the two of them to eat and was showing this man like so much kindness, if I'm remembering this correctly. And at the end of it all, he ended up telling her when he dropped her off at her location that when he had picked her up, he had every intention of causing harm to her, and that she shouldn't be so trusting of people. But because she had shown him so much kindness, he had shown her that mercy and that grace. And so that kind of leads me into today's video. I have said numerous times, as much as I've had like worldly experiences, I am far more afraid of what the human race can do to one another than I would ever be of any spirit or entity. And that kind of shows throughout this story as well. And this story takes place on Christmas Eve. So it was Christmas Eve, and for the sake of keeping it anonymous, we will say that the host's name was Sophia. I don't know why that came to my mind, but Sophia. And Sophia held a really big Christmas Eve party every single year. She was somebody who loved to be the life of the party, loved to throw the party, and was also one of those people who was like, the more the merrier. Like, bring literally anybody that you want. And so when this man, we'll call him Joe, shows up to this party, nobody's suspecting of anything. They're just like, oh, it's Joe, it's fine. Joe claimed to know so-and-so, but they would later find out some details about that. And in every conversation, he was just a little bit off. So everybody was kind of talking amongst one another of like, who is this Joe guy? But Joe was talking with everyone, so everyone kind of assumed that somebody must have invited Joe, because everyone, like I said, was allowed to bring other people, rightfully so. As the night went on, Joe started to do some incredibly strange things. People would notice him scanning the room. people would notice him kind of looking towards people in a way that felt very unsettling to anyone who would witness it. And he would make some remarks about certain things that were very uncomfortable. At one point, though, Joe ended up interacting with Sophia. And when Sophia asked him, like, who are you here with? Joe said a random name, and it would be an actual name of somebody at that party. And so Sophia kind of justified it. It was fine. But he didn't really give many details of how he knew that individual. As the night goes on, he comes back once again to talk with Sophia. And he asks her, like, why do you throw these parties? What's the deal with these parties? And Sophia goes on to say how her parents died when she was very young, and she never had parties of this nature. No Christmases like this. She was bounced from household to household. There was no real Christmas traditions. And so she's created it of her own. And that was when Joe finally opened up to her about how his parents had also been, they were unalived, and he never really had any Christmases either. After this interaction, Sophia did not remember seeing Joe anywhere else in the party. But a couple of months later, she would see Joe's face up on the television, telling her that he was finally arrested for the Christmas unalivings he'd been doing, where he would find out about like big parties of people, show up, and literally, I'm sure you can assume, unalive people at the party and move on with it. And he finally went in and confessed. And when she later found out from the other people that he had said to have been associated with, he didn't know any of them. Now, to this day, she's never spoken to Joe, but she believes that the reason that he didn't was because they had experienced a similar sort of pain, and he had decided to spare her and her party, because as she had read through the details of him, she had learned that his parents had been lost during the holiday season, and what he was doing was almost revengeful, and he was seeking out revenge. And because of Sophia's kindness, he decided to spare her, her family, and her party. Oof. I don't know. I just think the idea of not knowing someone's intentions really freaks me out. Recently, my sister was somewhere, and like someone that she thought like would never stole right out of her purse. So it happens, but I just think it gives me the heebie-jeebies. But I wanted to share it with you guys and hear your thoughts on this and the psychology aspect of it, because I don't know if you guys know this, but if I didn't get into what I got into, I really wanted to study criminal psychology and the nature versus nurture, and like if it's experience or if it's like pushed inside of you from the moment that you're born, like what does that really mean, has always fascinated me. And I think cases like this where people are merciful even though they wanted to do what they wanted to do, I don't know, it just makes you really wonder. So I'm curious as to what you guys think of this, but that is it for today's video. Merry Christmas again, you guys. Sorry that this is like a creepy video, but that's the nature of my channel. I felt like I had to deliver what you guys would be expecting. I cannot wait to spend the rest of 2023 with you and start 2024 off strong. I love you all so, so, so very much. And whatever you're going through this holiday season, if it's your best holiday season, or perhaps it's a difficult one, please just know you have a family here, and I absolutely love you and I'm rooting for you. And that is it for today's video. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my content, I would love if you go ahead and click that subscribe button, and please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until tomorrow, I love you.